At our holiday, the completed application, including all verifications, is due on the next business day. If we do not receive all required verification within the 30-day time frame, the application must be denied due to insufficient information. In the case of a denial, a new application with supporting documentation may be submitted. If the 30 days, just a note, if the 30 days was not met due to an agency delay, we still can approve. I want to take this opportunity today to let everybody know that we are actually converting to we're in the process of converting over the child care system to the new Ohio benefits, to the existing Ohio benefits system. Our SNAP and Medicaid and TANF programs have been on this system for some time now. For Medicaid, almost 10 years. For SNAP, for SNAP and TANF, it's been over 3 years now. They were in an older system called KIDS, and they are now in Ohio benefits. Actually, we're in the process of that. The conversion will allow us to provide a single system for eligibility and benefit recipients to manage eligibility. It will streamline sharing of information across our benefit programs, and it will modernize the child care eligibility system. Just a brief timeline, the two important dates. As of June 13th, all new applications for child care are being entered into the Ohio benefit system. And on July 18th, the existing cases from the KIDS system will be converted over to the Ohio benefit system. As a result of this change, the state office has actually made some changes on the application. So the existing application for our public benefits is the JFS 7200. It has been modified to incorporate child care assistance applications. So the standard application now includes these 4 programs: SNAP, cash assistance, medical assistance, and child care. Clients may now apply for all benefits using this same form. I mentioned part of a complete application, they have to choose an eligible child care provider. CJF staff can provide a listing of eligible child care providers. It is also available on our agency website. We also partner with Starting Point, who helps build capacity for child care across the region. They have a parent hotline for people to call. They have an email, they have a search online. Their business hours are 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. United Way 211 is also where child care providers out there. They can call information there. Or they can visit the County Invest in Children website for the same information. Once a family has been receiving child care for 12 months, they do have to recertify. So they have to submit a redetermination packet once a year. This packet is this is new. It's the 7204. It is a redetermination for all JFS public assistance programs. And it is now entitled Request to Reply for Cash, SNAP, and/or Child Care. It must be mailed it is mailed out to them 45 days before their benefits are due to expire. To continue to be eligible, they must submit the following items: the completed application or the redetermination form, their income information, their relevant school or employment schedules, and verification of any other household changes. They are eligible, as I mentioned earlier, for renewal up to 300% of the federal poverty level. All documents must be received prior to the expiration of the benefits. If not, they will be terminated. A new application will be needed, and income eligibility then resorts back to the 142% of the federal poverty level. So regarding the pandemic, I know this question came up on the initial request for the presentation, and most of this information, by the way, I received from Starting Point. Child care enrollment is down during the pandemic and continues to be down a bit. Child care centers are experiencing reduced capacity. More families are actually, what they're noticing is more families are opting for informal arrangements, usually with family members. Some data from the program. In terms of this is through May, the end of May 2022. We've had 6,400 applications, 4,045 have been approved, 2,400 have been denied. Currently in the program, we have 18,802 children enrolled countywide. That is from 8,760 families. There are currently 553 licensed child care centers in the program. And finally, just a note, just recently on May 1st, 2022, co-payments for families receiving publicly funded child care are temporarily waived. As a result, child care providers who provide publicly funded child care do not collect co-payments from caretakers who are receiving these benefits. Previously, they had to make some level of co-payment. The providers are being issued the full payment for the services by Ohio Department of Job and Family Services, and the providers are being asked to notify families of the current co-payment waiver. That is the end of my formal presentation. I'm going to ask if there are any questions.
Councilman Miller, did you have any? Okay. Open it up to the committee. Any other? Councilman Sweeney.
Thank you for your presentation. You enlightened me a lot. In regards to the libraries, are they all branches or just some of the branches within Cuyahoga County? And
All the
city?
branches, as I understand it, I always like to verify this, but all the branches in the Cuyahoga County system have assisters and have been trained on helping. It's not just for childcare, but for all benefits, and in Shaker Heights and in the Cleveland Public Library system.
It'll be all of them. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Is there, Director, is there a time frame for when the checklist gets mailed out? Is it appropriate amount of time for clients to return their paperwork? I think you covered that 30 days. And is there an extension if a client is unable to provide all of their paperwork? Or is it just, they're just denied?
The hard line 30 days is from the date of application received. So would send a checklist if we're missing information. Frequently, the application will include that information, but if we don't have that, we'll follow up with a checklist. But the 30-day is entirely based on the date of application.
I want to go to slide 5 where, and I guess this is just a comment, but the child eligibility, the age requirement. I know it's 13. Is that, that's determined by the federal government or the state, that age?
I believe it's the federal government, but I'm going to turn to Deshawn if she could. It's the Fed. Yeah, it's the federal government.
And the reason I'm saying is because there are, you know, I don't know if we can change that and extend that. That's kind of a, I know kids can stay home legally by themselves, but they're impressionable at that age. And to have them monitored or in a program would be beneficial for probably the county as a whole, because they're very impressionable, and that's, they stay home, have nothing to do, that's how they get into things. And I don't know what we can do, advocate for that, but I know there's been organizations in the community that have called me that put on nice programs for kids, but because they're low-income families or people that are struggling, they don't have the money to put their kid in a program, but they would benefit from that. So I don't know, maybe we can think about that, or have what route we would need to take collectively to try and maybe get that pushback, that age pushback. And that would maybe also assist us not having so many juveniles in the detention center and just a whole cycle of things. So, because I know there are great programs out there, and it's a shame that money keeps them from having their kid actively engaged in something, not idle hands. I believe kids should not have idle hands. On slide approval process, I was going to ask something on that. Trying to take my notes real quick. Okay, on your page 8, Child Care Assistance Ohio Benefits Conversion. What role will the county still play in that? I mean, you talked about it's a conversion. It sounds like it's good going into the system, the application process and all that, but are we still monitoring that locally?
Yeah, so the Ohio benefit system is the case management system for the state of Ohio, all the programs that PRC is still outside of that system, essentially. But the other programs are all within that system. The good news around this, Kids is a program that is a bit antiquated. And it's always been problematic that we have a completely separate system for childcare. So by incorporating that in, we can share information that will lead to better outcomes. But also the reporting out of Ohio benefits is better. Simply, we'll be able to pull information quicker and even target information to get us to really at some program outcomes and where we need to be paying attention. So we're certainly not losing any control by going to the Ohio benefits system.
Okay. And you talked about, I think on page 6, which was slide 11, the options to apply for child care assistance. And you talked about a queue for child care to go into. I just need to understand that. So
I apologize. That's the child, so our contact center, there are queues designated for specific programs. There was not a child care queue prior to the Ohio benefits conversion. As part of the Ohio benefits conversion, there is now, because the Ohio benefits system is actually directly, I shouldn't say directly, is coordinated with the contact center. And so now we have a child care queue so they can get into that's what it's referenced to, it's the phone queue.
okay. It's a call system. All right. Just to let you know, slide 17 says in Cuyahoga County, invest in children. I've had a meeting with Rebecca Dorman before she left, and the name was changed to my surprise. So I just want to, going forward, it's called Invested in Children. So they added ED.
I should have vetted it through that.
Just to let you know, our office was shocked. So going forward for the public, it's called Invested in Children. Child care assistance redetermination. Are the calls that regarding problems with the voucher system, they're going into the call system? That's what's related to the queue now, right?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so if you have somebody to call and they don't have the other SNAP or anything else, but they have a problem with the child care system, we just want to know how fast and rapidly are they getting that call back? Is that going through the normal process?
So prior to having thank you for the question. Prior to going into into that contact center queue, they were leaving messages and getting callbacks. That option is still available, right, Michelle? The voicemail is still available. Yes. It is still available, but they don't have to use that. They can now use the contact center that's staffed by child care staff to actually answer questions directly.
But we still have the phone system up.
I think long-term, we may get rid of the voicemail, but we want to look at the performance. We've had 2.5 weeks. I want to look at the performance of everything before I start cutting some of the old avenues off. I want to make sure that child care queue is operating properly and efficiently.
Okay. I know prior to COVID, right now, none of us have too many issues because we don't have enough people that want to go back to work or feel safe to go back to work. But prior to COVID, I had several, and I believe it's before you took over, Kevin, there were complaints from Ohio Guidestone and some other organizations that actually have workforce training, and they work with individuals to get them jobs and employment. And in the past, they were getting them jobs, but it was a snag in the voucher system. And so I just wanted to make sure all that was no longer a snag. So they would get them a job. They were supposed to report to the job, but we didn't do our due diligence in the county voucher program to have child care available for them to start that job. And so some of them lost that job and had to go through all that again. So I just want to make sure that we've kind of worked out those kinks.
So that is something we want to avoid. Ohio Guidestone is one of our partners, and it was also, as you know, Deputy Administrator Browns is here. He is over the child care program, and he is over our work activities program. And part of the reason both of those programs report to him is there usually needs to be a high level of coordination between those two programs. So we structure to address those boundaries, and And if you hear anything, please let us know. But we do work hard to make sure
That
that
was
coordination.
pre-COVID. We'll see how it works now. Any other questions for
I had a
Councilwoman
question
Turner?
about the eligibility requirements. I think it's slide 6. So the child would have to be a U.S. citizen?
Or and Deshaun cannot come up here and correct me if I'm wrong, they have to be a U.S. citizen, or, I think it's my slide 7, or a recognized, a legal immigrant? Or a legal immigrant, thank you.
Okay, yeah. Gotta state your name, gotta get on the record. Because we're live.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Deshaun Milton. I'm the center manager of the department that handles child care. A child must be a legal U.S. resident, U.S. citizen, or a lawful admitted non-citizen, if that makes sense. Lawful residing resident, so LPR.
So they could be a refugee?
Yes, they can be a
could
refugee,
Be an
yes.
asylum seeker?
All of that.
I assume the parents would have to have some type of legal status
The
as well?
parents do not, just the child.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right. Paul, would you like to share anything? I know we took you away from your busy work. Okay. All right, thank you. All right, and Director, you will let us know when all that is converted over and all that good stuff.
July 18th is the date. I'm hoping you don't get calls when that happens, because that would indicate something happened with the system conversion, but July 18th is the date. But I can follow up with yourself or Levine and let her know that it's happened.
Anything else you'd like to share, Director?
We are very intently looking at the conversion. We do hope that we get better data out of it in the long run. I do expect some bumps in the road, because this is probably the 4th major conversion I've been in my career, and conversions always end up with some bumps in the road. We're trying to manage them as they come, and I hope it goes smoothly, but we're getting ready to triage them as they happen.
Okay, in the your page, I guess it's slide 20, page 10, the 2,400 individuals that were denied, what happens to them? Do we catch if they come back in the system and reapply, or?
So that's one of the things that I hope to actually be able to track with the new system, because we don't have the greatest numbers. Quite frankly, we had to put a request in the state to get these numbers, and it was a 3-week turnaround. I would prefer same day, same hour turnaround on things like this. We'll have more control over the data. I can tell you that, yes, it's likely they reapplied, but unfortunately, given the data I have, I couldn't get that information.
And this conversion, how is it being paid? Is the state providing
How is it? What? I apologize.
being paid? How are we funding it?
The conversion is a statewide conversion, so it's just our staff's time to prep the cases and do the data clearance. And,
There's no additional cost?
There's no additional cost to the county, no.
That would have been a question that Councilman Miller would have probably asked, so I just want to make sure. All right. Have nothing else, Sweeney? We're good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, any miscellaneous business? Seeing none, hearing none, this meeting is adjourned.